we're gonna give this a try. We can do soft spoken today because I have to record with my phone because there's literally no room on my desk to set up my Yeti mic, and it's driving me crazy because I want to get these dolls painted and also record ASMR, and I promised you guys a follow-up on how Thanksgiving went. So I go to bed and I'm gonna ballpark because I can't quite remember the time that I went to bed, but it was probably between 10 and 11, I would guess. And both me and hubby are in bed and I fall asleep. And everything is good. And then between my spirit babies waking me up, my bladder waking me up, I wake up at least once a night usually. And so I woke up about 1 o'clock in the morning and I use the bathroom and I see that hubby is out on the couch playing a video game, and I was like, oh, dude, what are you doing? He's like, don't be mad at me. And I'm like, well, that's crazy. So basically he stayed up until past 3 in the morning because he had to get the turkey out of the fridge at 2 a.m. and then get it on the smoker at 3 a.m. So he just stayed awake because he told me if I'd gone to bed, I would not have woken up to do that. So I just stayed awake, and that's probably true because then when his alarms were going off at 6 o'clock to check the turkey, he didn't go check the turkey. It was about an hour later when I was finally getting out of bed that he went to check the turkey. And for being cold during the night, turkey was cooking good. It was going along very smoothly. I was worried that it wouldn't stay up to temp, but it did good. And so we're up, and I think I make some tea and have a yogurt. I think that's all I do. Because I do have a small ulcer still, or not still, but again. So I couldn't have coffee, which really, really upset me because hubby's alarm's going off at 6 o'clock. He didn't turn them off, he just snoozed them. So they were going off like every 15 minutes for an hour and a half, or was it 2.5 hours? I think we got up at 8 o'clock, actually. Yeah, I didn't get up until after 8. So for 2.5 hours, his alarms, I was like so ornery and couldn't even have coffee. So I kind of decided that I was going to take care of myself. It's the only way I was going to get through that day. Hubby was up. He was in a good mood. He was playing music and having fun. He started baking the pies, and we started making the mashed potatoes, the green bean casserole, and I was just kind of supervising, helping where I felt like I needed to. I had to shower, and I was time crunched, and I was starting to stress about that because I was like, crap, I still need to shower. My sister was going to come over around 11. That didn't happen She unfortunately kind of had this really cringy argument with her boyfriend the day before, so she uninvited him to Thanksgiving. She's like, I think we need some space today, which was totally fair. She told me what happened, and it was pretty cringy and totally justified that she uninvited him. But she didn't have that extra help she was expecting for her morning, so she came over at noon, which is when we wanted to eat. The turkey was done at like 11 instead of 11:30, so we were just kind of waiting on the potatoes and the green bean casserole and for my sister to show up, and then we were eating by 12:30. So that was actually pretty perfect. And we're starting to eat, and me and my sister are sitting there, and we're like, this is perfect. My nervous system is relaxing. This food is delicious. That turkey had so much flavor. It was great. Everything tasted so good. And the kids were just having a delightful time. We were all having little conversations. And it was just the Thanksgiving that we've been needing for years. No pressure. No one getting dismissed or ignored. It was great. And so they stayed for 3 hours. Well, about 3 hours. They had to leave at 3 o'clock so that my sister could take the kiddos to their dad's house. And so her kids had some pumpkin pie before they left. And they really did leave about 3 o'clock. It was pretty spot on. So they headed off, and we were cleaning up the kitchen. And for as messy as it got and everything that was going on, just like that, we had it cleaned up. And then once it was cleaned up, me and hubby went and laid down. Well, I kind of had to force him. I'm like, come lay down next to me. I really need a nap. And he's like, I don't want to do that. He fell asleep faster than I did. But we both took a nap while my sister drove down to take her kids. It was a tiny nap by the time I fell asleep, probably only a 20 to 30 minute nap. And I say tiny because when they say take a nap, that's usually what the world means, is a 20 to 30 minute nap. But when I nap, I need like 2 hours. So for me, yeah, that was a very tiny nap. And all of a sudden I'm getting a notification on my phone that someone's at my door. And I let my sister in, and I'm like, oh, sorry, we're just waking up. We took a little nap while you were gone. And so she's sitting at the table, which me and hubby I think we were both kind of like, let's go sit in the living room. It's more comfortable. But she sat at the table, and hubby came out. I had to kind of like bring him back to reality, like being like, hey, my sister's back. Come hang out. So we were all at the table for a minute. And then hubby was like, okay, so what do you want to do now? And my sister had brought over this bottle of red wine, and she's like, well, I want to try that because her boyfriend picked it out, and I don't think he's even a wine guy, but he picked it out. And so she's like, I want to see how this tastes. And hubby knew that I wasn't planning to drink, but he was like, do you want some? I was like, yeah, I want to taste it. And so he pours us both a splash. He calls it a finger. Is that what he called it? Anyway. And me and my sister both do the it smells really good. And then we taste it, and we're like, okay, yeah, this is a good red wine. It wasn't like oversweet, wasn't dry. I've got to mix up some more yellow paint because I'm doing so many yellow layers. Annie, I think, has her yellow layers. She's got 4? Oh crap, I better, oh no. Does she have 4 or 6 yellow layers? Crap, that's important. Because I need to do the same amount on Journey. Oh no. I'm gonna have to think about that. It's definitely 4 layers. I did 2 this morning. I think it was 6 layers. I think there's 6 layers. Because I did 2 today. This is just purified water. Alright, so me and my sister were enjoying our wine and we're just kind of chatting, catching up, and kind of talking about some family drama as well. And hubby goes and gets himself a little apple red beer, the Reds apple beers. They're really refreshing. And so we kind of start talking about what we've tried. And my sister's like, you know, for dating a couple of bartenders, I don't know anything about all these drinks. And so hubby goes and pulls out some of our other drinks for my sister to try. And just kind of, some of them, she just smelled them. Because obviously we have to drink responsibly. She's going to drive herself home. But I didn't know that hubby had bought a creamed liquor. I can't remember which one it was, but I wanted to try some of that. So hubby poured me and my sister some of that. And yeah, we're like, this is really good. So we were just kind of chatting. We eventually get into chatting about like movies and stuff. There is a little gnat or fly in here. Anyway, so we're chatting and we start talking about Deadpool. And we're like, we have that movie, Deadpool and Wolverine. We can go watch it. My sister hadn't seen it yet. Oh, I kind of missed I missed something in my story already. Alright, so these are Annie's legs. They're nice and yellow. And these are still kind of, like, this is a warm tone and this one's not quite there. So 6 layers of yellow to get this to here. This is so much work. I've never done this much work on a doll before. I swear I don't understand why I'm struggling. But anyway, I forgot the tidbit, but this is what happened, but I don't know how it fit into the timeline. No, it doesn't fit into the timeline. This is the thing that happened the day after. So the thing I was thinking of was my husband was making a turkey casserole with the leftovers. And then he was running our kids over to his sister's house to have a sleepover. That was not Thanksgiving night. But what had happened, this is why I thought it was that same day, was because earlier that day, 3:30, 4 o'clock, right before we took our nap, my husband's mom picked up the kids and took them to their Thanksgiving dinner. So we still were without kids that night. And so, like, we have all of these bottles on the table, and before we go watch the movie, I'm like, we better put this away so the kids don't come back and think we went crazy. because we didn't. We really had just a little bit of a couple of things. So anyways, then we go watch Deadpool and Wolverine. I love that movie. It's so funny. The only thing that was frustrating was we thought it was our internet, but it definitely wasn't, because then hubby eventually hardwired our TV. It was still having problems, so it was stupid Fandango. Kept interrupting. And the stupid thing was we kept putting our quality from UHD down to just HD or whatever it is. And it kept switching it back. And I'm like, if you would just leave it where we put it, you'd probably be playing just fine without all these interruptions. But it kept being annoying. So that was unfortunate. But I think my sister still enjoyed the movie. And she was literally leaving, like right as our kids were getting dropped off. And then I thought we all went to bed. But Thanksgiving was really good. My sister left all of her stuff because it was late, and she's like, I'll just come back tomorrow and get it. I'm like, that's perfect. And her kids, I don't know, she probably picked her kids, or her kids probably got dropped off her place on Sunday, but I don't know. So she at least had a couple of nights without her kids. And that night I thought we all went to bed, but hubby and my youngest stayed up and played Roblox with the cousins until like 2 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, oh my God. Because the thing that upset me was then hubby was asleep until 11:30 the next morning. So I was like, well, you just slept that day half gone, but Thanksgiving was really nice. I was just really bummed afterwards that he had to sleep for so long to recover from everything. So Turkey Day didn't go as planned. The turkey was actually done earlier than planned, and it was delicious. We did a dry brine, and it was a store-bought one that hubby found. It came with fresh herbs, sage, thyme, and rosemary. And so we chopped up the fresh herbs. And then it came with, I swear, a pound of salt and garlic that you mixed with the fresh herbs, and you rubbed it all over. Alright, so what I'm doing is 2 layers at a time. So this is 1 layer, so I'm going to do 1 more before I move on. And I'm going to have to keep track of this somehow, because I can't believe it was 6 yellow layers from what I've done on Annie's limbs. Holy moly. Anyway, so I really wish that I could set up my Yeti mic, because I don't know if you guys can hear any of these brush noises that I'm making. Maybe when I'm painting Winnie, I can record an ASMR video of that, because that's just 1 doll, and maybe I'll have room to put my mic up here, because I think that would be relaxing. Okay, the annoying thing about painting is every once in a while there's a little fuzzy or hair or black spot or random paint chips that get on there, and I have to use a toothpick and scrape them off. And even after doing that, it's still not perfect. I have to remind myself, because my plan is, after I'm done painting, before I put the varnish on top, I'm gonna give it a rinse with just some water to get all those fuzzies off. This is taking me, I think this is the 4th time I've sat down and painted, which is, and it's not because there's 2 dolls, it's because of how many layers I'm putting. And it's the most I've ever done on any doll. So I do get like anxious when I paint. I wish it was always relaxing, but it's an air dry paint and it dries pretty fast. I do have this slow dry that you can add to it. But if you leave like a drip of paint anywhere, it will dry like that. So I'm trying to use this sponge to blend it, but the sponge has edges, right? So when I feel like I've got the paint blended pretty good, then I take this and really blend the rest of the little, almost like there's like bubbles that start happening when I start. Like, can you hear that? It puts little tiny, almost bubbles, little spots of paint. Okay, 2 layers. So let's compare it. That's a huge difference. But then if I compare this has 6. What the hell? That's 2. Does that look the same? What? Maybe my new paint is thicker, so that yellow layer went on quicker. This is Journey's lens, and maybe she's like, come on, let's hurry and get this done. I do want to say that Annie is getting done quicker, which is appropriate because she is twin A. Technically, she will be born first. Her kit arrived first. She is first. So we're just gonna get the 2 layers of yellow on this arm now. I'm very excited to have them done painting. The nails on these little fingers turned out really pretty. They're so pretty, like best little nails I've ever done. So when I paint, I start with that raw edge between the sections of the limb so we don't have a line happening. and then I go all over, and then between the fingers it starts to collect. So then we have to wipe that up because it will dry like that. And I go over again. Make sure I didn't miss any paint pooling. That yellow layer just brings her to life. I really don't love I think I have one baby that's pretty red. But she is also a preemie baby, so it makes sense for her to be pretty red. Otherwise, I like my babies to be just warm tones. Okay, there's so much paint in my sponge. I have to press it on the puppy pad that's underneath it. And then just get some plain water, spray it on there. So again, sometimes the paint sits in the crease of the arm. And after I get the yellow layers on, they're gonna get another crease layer. I'm trying to keep it on camera so you can see what I'm doing. But normally I'm like way down here. Hunching my back really good here. Alright, let's get this second layer on. She has really pretty little fingers. They look pretty long. Oh, her toes are absolutely gorgeous too. Overall, she is a gorgeous kit. And she was sculpted by an artist. A lot of my babies were sculpted from real babies. And sometimes artists will take their inspiration from babies, real ones. But then a lot of times they're just imagining a baby in their head and trying to put it into clay. Either way, it's pretty neat. Got some pooling. Beautiful. So pretty. Look at those little fingers. So the brushes naturally put lines all over, which is what you do not want. You don't want to see any brush strokes. Obviously, to create a realistic baby, why would you have brush strokes? Okay, I'm like looking at this limb, and I don't think it's quite as yellow as that first one. What happened? Maybe I hadn't mixed the paint very well, and so yeah, it went on thicker. I was hopeful I wouldn't have to do as many layers. But let's compare. It already looks more yellow to me. Well, actually, I don't know. Yeah, I think this one is a little bit more yellow. So that one probably won't need as many. Yep. Well, I'm gonna keep working on this, and hopefully the next time I see you on an ASMR video, we're painting Winnie or doing something completely different, because these girls are